Greetings, Earthlings! Speedy the Enderman here, and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Okay, I know I'm late for Christmas, but the move has been really hectic so far. I still wanted to give y'all something for, like, New Year's Eve and stuff. I mean, it's not only the end of the year, but it's also the start of a completely new decade. So, yeah, that seemed kinda cool, and I wanted to make a video in order to celebrate the event. And I also wanted to kind of make a new rant video to give y'all something to watch while things get ready for Mortal Kombat 2 production, because, yeah, there have been conditions that have made it impossible to work on the Mortal Kombat 2 review. And I know that I said in the update video that I would get it out on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but no, things have just not been going well for me. I got this new phone, I was forced to use it, and I can't really call Tropical Pop-Tart to work on the script or the editing for it with him. So, until I either get a new phone or a new card, I'm screwed, and the production is halted. Which sucks, but there are some things that I can still do while production gets back into the swing of things. Like, talk about some New Year's resolutions. I only have one, really, and that's to see if I can increase the output of content on YouTube as a whole. However, given how hectic and slow the move has been so far, I don't know if I'll be able to really follow up with that at first. But nonetheless, y'all know why you're here. It's for the title. It's a new rant, and it's on something that I seem to be very, very alone on. Well, not actually alone, but still, very few people think this way. Xbox is better than PlayStation, objectively. And I'm gonna go into why, this is unscripted and stuff. And I'm just going to list a few reasons as to why I think that the majority of people like PlayStation more, and why, objectively, Xbox is better. Now let's go over why I think that this is an obscure opinion to have, because a lot of people seem to claim that PlayStation is better, or that by comparison Xbox is extremely weird. Like, my father and mother, whenever I ask them about Xbox related stuff, they're like, boo! But they are also excited for the PlayStation 5, even though it looks freaking ridiculous. But who knows? Let's just go over this, because it seems really weird to me, for reasons I'll get into later. Back in the days of the PS2, the Xbox, the GameCube, and the Dreamcast, the 6th generation of gaming consoles, the PlayStation 2 was the best-selling console, not only because of brand recognizability. Actually, no, wait. What's the word for that? Brand recognition, that's it. That's all you have to say. The PlayStation 2 was the best-selling, not only because of brand I already forgot. I am an idiot. Brand recognition, that's it. The PlayStation 2 sold well because of brand recognition, and because the PlayStation 2 is also a DVD player. Meanwhile, the Xbox was actually a pretty low sales console by comparison. Mainly because people just didn't know what an Xbox was back then, because it was the first time Microsoft made a video game console. And even though that the original Xbox had some pretty good games, like the original Star Wars Battlefront games, and stuff like that, and a pretty good controller for how big it was, not a lot of people seemed to care about the console when you compare it to how many people cared about the other three consoles. Well, maybe not the Dreamcast, but in hindsight, a lot of people really like the Dreamcast, so. Either way, the Xbox, the original one, it didn't sell well. And the Xbox 360, while it did sell pretty well overall, the original versions and the original consoles of the Xbox 360 were poorly, very, very poorly manufactured. There were these glitches, like red rings and stuff, and it ultimately gave people the impression that the Xbox 360 wasn't a good console. And the Xbox One, well, if you go onto Google and you search up PS4 sales numbers, you'll see these images of, like, how well the PS4 and the Xbox One have sold in between certain months or during certain months of a year. And consistently, every single chart you'll see will showcase that the PlayStation 4 has sold a lot more of its consoles. You know, the console itself has sold more than the Xbox One, even though the Xbox One has a lot of features to it that the PlayStation 4 doesn't. But you know what? That's the reason as to why a lot of people have PlayStations. But let's actually go over why I think people should care, or at least like, Xbox a little bit more than they do. First of all, we gotta talk about the backwards compatibility. Now, this is something that Microsoft talks about a lot in their advertising for the console itself, but let me explain into a bit more detail so that more people can understand it. The Xbox One can let you play games from the original Xbox and Xbox 360, but unlike the PlayStation 4, which also has backwards compatibility, you do not need a monthly subscription of any kind in order to play old games. You just go to the store, you buy the game that you want to play, you download it, and then you play it. It's yours. No subscription, no complex hooking up your console to anything or anything like that. You just buy the game. That's it. And that's incredible. That's how the PS3 did it, and that's how the Xbox One does it, and it's much better for it. On top of that, I do believe that the Xbox Arcade Store has more games to it from older consoles than PS Now, but I could be wrong about that. I haven't really had time to count, but either way, the backwards compatibility is pretty awesome, given how expansive it is, I should say. And not only that, but the Xbox One allows you to play computer games, like certain computer games, like Sea of Thieves or Cuphead, without having to hook up your computer to the console itself. You can just download computer games and play them online with friends or play them by yourself. And you don't even need a keyboard to play them, which is great because, as we all know, keyboards are for... No, I'm just kidding. What else? You can also plug in your Xbox One controller into a PC. That way you can play it without using a keyboard. I know you can technically do that with the PlayStation 4 controller, but that's kind of not as well recognized because whenever you do that, it shows like the Xbox One buttons rather than the PlayStation buttons. But either way, so you've got the main exclusive titles, you've got the titles that go across all kinds of systems, you've got the old titles, and you've got the titles from computers. So that's 4 different kinds of games you got on one system. And not only that, but I'm gonna say it, the Xbox controller layout is not as weird as it looks. Believe it or not, it's actually really comfortable. Which I know, I wasn't expecting. Ever since I learned about the Xbox controller layout, back when I was playing nothing but PS3 and PS4, I thought it was weird. Like, why is the joystick where the D-pad should be? This don't make no sense. And while it is a bit of an adjustment for those of you who haven't really used an Xbox controller before, it's really comfortable. In fact, I would say that the Xbox 360 has the best controller ever made. The D-pad, the shape of the controller, the size of the controller, everything just makes sense. And the Duke is actually pretty comfortable for how big and large it is. And while the Xbox One controller isn't nearly as good as the Xbox 360 controller due to its plasticky feel and shape, I still opine that the Xbox One controller is still pretty good altogether. Is it better than the PS4 controller? That I can't really say. The PS4 controller just has a lot of pointless stuff, while the Xbox One controller does have necessary things, but there are certain things that could have been done better on it, like the start and select buttons have weird symbols, and the D-pad is kind of garbage, but still. And on top of that, I think that the Xbox Series has a few good exclusive titles. But that's besides the point, you know. I can talk all day comparing Xbox and PlayStation, but the one thing that I cannot stand overall is that if you were to say to someone, oh, well, I like Xbox, I play Xbox games and on Xbox consoles, they're like, wow, you put the gay in gamer, don't you? And like, I don't get it. Like, from what I've witnessed and from what other people have witnessed, a lot of people seem to be under the impression that people who play Xbox games are either very immature or they are very, how do I put this, unique. And that's not a good thing. I mean, I already made a video a long time ago about how you should be accepting of people's differences and stuff like that. It's just weird to me that claiming that you like something can give people, or it will make people believe that you have this personality trait about you that has absolutely nothing to do with what you mentioned. It's weird, and it's unnecessary, and it's kind of hurtful, or at least it can be hurtful depending on what is actually being said by the accuser. But either way, I don't think that playing Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo systems or anything like that makes you any less of a gamer than anyone else, you know? As much as I've been talking down to PlayStation in this video and others like my PS4 review, I don't hate PlayStation, alright? I like PlayStation. In fact, it was the first brand of consoles that I ever knew existed, you know, because my first console was the PlayStation 3. And the PlayStation 3 is still a pretty good console in my opinion, and so is the PS4, albeit it's a little bit more flawed, you know. The loud fans and the weird controller with a lot of pointless stuff like a touch bar and a giant light. But other than that, I really don't see any reason to be ashamed or have to worry about having a certain opinion about certain consoles. But I also don't really see the point of, like, why Xbox in particular has been looked down upon compared to Nintendo and Sony in that regard. But, like, we have every reason to say that Xbox is objectively better, and yet you would think, you know, you'd think that would be the grounds on which Xbox would be a much more popular brand. But no, charts and people in general just keep on saying PlayStation is more popular. Nintendo has this many sales, while Xbox has this many sales. And it's just weird. And I wanted to make this short little rant video because I just don't really understand this. Can someone please explain to me how... Well, I know how PlayStation has sold better. Like, I just spent the entire beginning talking about how this came to be. But I'm just weirded out by it, and I wanted to tell y'all that I'm weirded out by it. And what I'm even more weirded out by is the fact that people who play Xbox are constantly stereotyped as being loud, expressive, odd people. And that's not true in the slightest. Like, one of the quietest, most intelligent people I've ever met play Xbox, which directly contradicts the stereotypes that people put on people who play Xbox. But I don't know. All I'm just saying is that when 2021 or 2020, whenever the consoles come out, whenever that year comes around, get the Xbox Scarlet. Or, actually no, get whatever console you actually want to get. But for me, I'm getting the Xbox Scarlet mainly because my friends are, and I like online play with my friends. But also because I have reason to believe that Xbox is superior to PlayStation, and that the upcoming battle between the Scarlet and the PS5 will be one either that is one-sided or equally balanced. And I can only hope that it is more equally balanced than the charts have said previously. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little rant. I'm not sure if it can really be called a rant. Like, this little discussion, like this unscripted talk. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate or have celebrated. Um, all I can say is Happy December, I guess. That's the best thing I can say. Happy December. Let's hope that Kappa doesn't completely ruin YouTube like we all thought it would, or we all think it will. And let's hope that 2020 will be a great year for this channel. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Goodbye.